Well, good morning, everybody. It is, let's see, it's the 6th of January, and I slept in. It's 7:19 a.m., and I'm excited to start the day. It's a Monday. Mondays, I remember when I was working, I didn't really love Mondays, but I like Mondays now. And yes, I'm wearing the same t-shirt that I was yesterday, because you'll notice from the little logo, but it's one of these special material t-shirts that I can safely wear for probably 2 or 3 days. I'll wear it twice, so just in case. Some people notice details, and good for you if you're one of those people that notice details. Usually it's just a regular black cloth t-shirt that I buy from Walmart, and I do those get changed every single day without fail. But it may look like the same one every day, because I'd probably say 15 black t-shirts and 2 light blue ones. That's it. And I have 2 of these. Dos. We're going to talk about the weather. It's 41 degrees in Quartzsite. It's in Quartzsite properly, but it's 3 miles outside of town. I'm boondocking in the desert. For those of you new to me, my name's Rob, and I welcome you if you're a new viewer. I've never done that before. I don't know why. I need to start doing that more. This is the comment video, where if you put a comment on even this video, any video from 3 years ago, you can comment on a video. And tomorrow, I'll read it. If I don't read your video, it's probably because you're one of the people that say nasty things, and it gets hidden. So, and if you have a nice comment and I didn't read it, I'm having an over 60 moment probably, but I think I'm pretty good about reading them all. So I digress. Weather. Today, first thing we want to do is we want to look at the wind. So, because that's really the biggest concern for people in Quartzsite is the wind, because it can become uncomfortable. And the next problem day is Tuesday, and I believe Wednesday. Yep, Tuesday and Wednesday are and Thursday. Okay, guys, if you're in Quartzsite, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we have sustained winds at some up to 17 miles per hour. That doesn't sound like a lot, but understand that gusts come double the sustained very often. So double the 17 is, of course, 34 mile an hour gusts. I would guess it wouldn't be outrageous to have a 40 mile per hour gust. So make sure awnings are in, light things that can blow away are secured. And, this is the desert. We just have to put up with a few windy days every year. And in this week, we just have a few days. Okay. So 10-day forecast, we're in the high 60s, between 66 and 69 for the highs, and we're between 39 and 42 for the lows. Mostly sunny days. So if you got solar, there's so many of us do out here. That's whether it's windy or not, if it's a clear sunny day, which most of these days are, you're going to be harvesting a bunch of solar. And I like the word harvesting, because that's what we're really doing. Like you got a solar panel, you're like a farmer harvesting energy from the sun, versus planting plants and adding water to a seed and getting the sun on them is just another form of extracting energy from nature. And so we're harvesting. We're solar farmers out here. So you can tell I'm in a really good mood, only because of 2 things. One is the positive news video I did today, I thought was hysterical. It's about a guy that thought noticing in his town, he was in the UK, and he was noticing his town had all these prohibited signs everywhere he went. There was a sign telling him what he shouldn't, couldn't, and would be, prosecuted for doing. And if you look around, you'll start seeing those signs everywhere. I mean, lawsuits and stuff make it necessary for warnings and warning labels and things, and a lot of just signs that are can be oppressive, right? So he started making his own signs that were hysterical, and he started posting them, official looking satire signs all over the city. And when the news, this is in the BBC, and he refused to give his identity because he figured there's probably a law that he's breaking. And even one of the signs says, "No unlawful signs." So that put me in a good mood. And the other thing that put me in a good mood is to figure out where I am in the comments from the last week. I thought the last comment I had was kind of a nasty one, and it was kind of a downer. And I'm like, oh man, I'm ending the comment video on and you could tell I'm an open book. You could tell I was not happy. And just before I finished, I refreshed, and pop, another comes up from Jeremy Grandstaff, and he had like, it was kismet that he had a comment that was like the opposite of the nasty comment. And that nasty comment was already gone, so I don't think he could have. There's no way he could have read that comment, and it just my attitude of being sort of a little disappointed and a little angry and a little hurt just flipped around instantly. And I remembered he got me to remember that 99% of the people that comment on this channel are kind, helpful, generous, wonderful people. And why drag yourself down for the negative Nellies? So those are the reasons I'm in such a great mood today. Then I go to start today's comment, and guess who's the first two comments are Jeremy. So let's jump in and read those. Jeremy says, "Hello, great story." This was yesterday's Positive News video. This is funny too. And if you watch it, she does such a wonderful job at this prank she pulls on her husband that you find yourself wondering, wait a minute, is this a prank or did she really do this? She said, she calls her husband up and said, "Something's wrong with the car." "What do you mean something's wrong with the car?" "Something's wrong with the car. I put Christmas gas in it and now it won't run." And he's like, "What do you mean you put Christmas gas in it?" "Yeah, it was at the gas station. The Christmas gas is the one with the green handle." Those of you that know, and she certainly knew this, the green handle in most states denotes diesel fuel, and they obviously have a gas car. And so she's trying to tell him that she unwittingly filled the car with diesel fuel and drove away in it. And he, of course, understands the implication of that, and he keeps saying, "You're messing with me, right? You're just messing with me." And she's like playing this and go, "I don't know what you mean." And when you know she's messing with him, it's pretty hysterical. So anyway, Jeremy says, "Laugh out loud, great story. I'm a bit confused though. Did she actually do that, or was she just telling him?" And I said, "See, it's hard to tell. It was definitely, she was messing with him." And I'm just noting that for some reason I can't like this video from my phone on YouTube. Oh, YouTube, shame on you. Okay, we got Patricia Peters, another great video. "Your voice is very calming. Thanks for parking tip." And that was on 2 weeks out from the big tent, and it was originally titled 1 week out from the big tent. And I looked at it last night and went, it's not 1 week out, it's 2 weeks out. I'm surprised nobody called me out on that. It says, "If I'm correct, the big tent show opens on the 18th, so 13 more days. So excited." So that's Hanson on the road. When they all run together, it's hard to say. So Hanson, here's what I bet. This is a cool guy. You know what Hanson did? Hanson saw, it was 22 hours ago, so it was yesterday. He saw the title was wrong. So instead of saying the title's wrong, he says, "If I'm correct, the Big Tent show opens on the 18th, so it's 13 more days. So excited." Now, I was too dumb to pick up on that when I first read it yesterday. But I'm pretty sure that's what he was doing. He was trying to do it in a kind way. Boy, this is going to be a good day, isn't it? Ken Gray on the did she really do this is the diesel gas thing. If it makes you laugh, then it's positive. Well, as long as no one's hurt. Yeah, no one was hurt. It was a good prank. JB Madera, as always, a very enjoyable video. Laughed when you said young people are folks under 50. Exactly, they are. I'm sorry. When you're 65, under 50, you're young. Cottywampo, construction to Parker. I didn't see last week. Might have changed by now. I'll find out when I go to Lake Havasu Tuesday to pick up some equipment. As far as ordering and shipping without an address yet, Home Depot and Tractor Supply give the option to ship to the store, which is huge. So definitely there's Home Depot in Yuma. I'm pretty sure. Is there a Home Depot in Lake Havasu and a Tractor Supply? I bet there is in both places. But double check before you go. Not you, Cottywampo. Everybody else is listening. RV Life says, I'd love to see Dottie on the seat beside you. Great video as always. Okay. These are all on the same video, the 2 weeks out from the big tent. And it's pretty funny. Ken, the first person to point this out is Ken Gray. He says from timestamp 1836 to 2413 is repeated until 2950. Nice tour of Tyson Wells. Good tips on parking. Ken it's also really loved the decorations on the water tanks to make them look like elephants. And Patsy Cluding says confusion combined with some deja vu. Interesting editing. And there's some replies on that. Same here, deja vu, or I might have hit rewind on Fire Stick remote. And I said, yep. I had to replay just to make sure. Yes, I actually thought it was something I did many years ago. My hubby taught me to catch movie flaws. Okay, so are you getting what happened now? If not, I'll tell you. So I had these series of events in the video. I went to do laundry, and then I went to Family Dollar, then I went to Coyote Fresh, and I think then I went home. Anyway, so I go through the store in Family Dollar, and I go through the store in Coyote. And when you watch the video, as soon as I walk out of the store and get in the car at Coyote, I'm back in the car at Family Dollar, and I do the whole thing over again. It was a repeat, and it was completely unintentional. I wasn't paying close enough attention. So sure enough, there's a loop there. How many minutes is it? Well, Ken gave the timestamps. It's like 7 minutes of video that is totally repeated. And it's kind of funny. People are going, wait a minute. Didn't we just see this? Did I hit rewind? Did some glitch happen? Well, there's a couple of so now now if you go back and you try to see it, it's not there anymore, because it's called YouTube Studio, is where creators can go in, and there's certain things I can do after a video's out. And one of the things I can do, if I have the timestamps correct, I can clip out a section, which I did after I figured this out, but I thought it was kind of funny. Dark Mark 58D, really enjoyed this excellent video and good info providing on parking around the show. By the way, either I had deja vu or the Coyote Fresh segment was shown twice, so look forward to strategies. So, okay, you can argue that these are criticisms, but how good-natured can you get about it than how these people convey that you probably screwed up editing, Rob, but how in such a kind, joyous, collaborative way they're commenting on something that they saw, and they all have a sense of humor about it. It's amazing. And Carmen says, a glitch in the Matrix? Reliving the trip from Family Dollar to Coyote Fresh? Since it's so close to the big tent, do you get a little extra groceries? Nancy Madera asked that, and it's like, yeah, I probably should, but I won't. I like, when I go into town and I stand in long lines, it's an opportunity to meet people. So I like, and I expect it, you know. Have I ever told you my thing that I use with clients all the time that I shamelessly stole along with every other idea I've ever had in my life, probably? Expectations are resentments under construction. I'm going to say that one more time in case you missed it. Expectations are resentments under construction, which the translation of that little ditty means if I expect something to go a certain way, or I expect you to do a certain thing, and the thing doesn't go my way, or you don't do what I expect, then I'm going to be maybe resentful that it didn't happen the way I forecasted it to happen. So what's wrong with that? Here's what's wrong with it. If I have unreasonable expectations of other people in the world and even myself, unreasonable, illogical, faulty expectations, I will experience unnecessary resentment. So what made me think of that, if I go in the next few weeks, the big tent, all the people are coming in. If I go expecting not to wait in line and expecting everybody to be fully stocked and expect the traffic's going to go smoothly, I'm going to go into town and my resentment is going to build and build and build and build, where it becomes an unpleasant experience for me. And guess what? Even people around me. When you're resentful, you don't need to open your mouth or do anything to affect other people negatively, because when you're resentful, it oozes off you. People get the vibe. It's not pleasant for anyone around you and you. If I go to town the week before, these next 2 weeks before the big tent where all the people are pouring in, I expect traffic jams. I expect having parking problems. I expect shortages in goods in the grocery stores. And I expect long, confusing lines. I expect those things. So how could I possibly be resentful when my expectations are met? Because I can decide, hey, I don't feel like driving in heavy traffic and standing in line at the grocery store today. Well, then don't go. I'm not going to go that day. I'll go when I'm okay with it. So expectations are resentments under construction. And unreasonable expectations lead to unnecessary resentment. I love that. And it's not my saying. I stole it. I steal them all. Let's see. For anyone worried that I use a red... Oh, Jesus. This is my friend Judy that got sort of angry, and rightfully so, at all these comments I was getting. She has a diesel heater, and she has a 1-gallon container for diesel, and she knew that she needed a yellow one, but they didn't have one. The only yellow one they had was 5 pounds. It's too heavy for her. So she got a 1-pounder, and she wrote in black marker all over it, diesel. And that's what I brought into town to fill with diesel for her on New Year's Day. And I just got a lot of venom from people commenting on... People are even accusing me that it's breaking the law to put diesel in a red can. It certainly is not breaking the law. It's a standard that red gasoline, yellow diesel, I think blue is kerosene. There's standards, right? But just the venom posted, she was really angry about it. So I'll read what she said. For anyone worried that I use a red can for my diesel heater, in all caps, she says, back off. I know it's customary to use a yellow can, but when I bought my can, there were only 5-gallon yellow cans. I am 75 years old and cannot lift a 5-gallon can, so I bought 2-gallon can. I bought a red 2-gallon can. I think it's 1 gallon. I'm pretty sure. And wrote diesel all over it. So back off making comments to Rob. He was only doing me a favor. Thank you. And you know, you're going to look at the comments and go, I don't see those comments because I deleted them all. They were terrible. Cottywomple. Remember, if you camp right next to the vault toilet, you're going to have a steady stream of cars and people walking by all hours of the day. And Joseph says maybe a smell issue. Yeah, that's there for the toilet system to work properly. Yeah. So For those of you that, again, I feel like I need to address this again. The rule in the LTVAs is you have to be 500 feet from a vault toilet. That's the furthest away you can be from a vault toilet. If you don't have a self-contained 10-gallon minimum waste tank built into your rig. So tent campers, car campers, vans without tanks, you got to be within 500 feet. And people kind of freak out about that. Like, I don't want to be right next to the, it's 500 feet's not, if you're 500 feet away, you're not next to the thing that you're 500 feet away from. So unless you're 500 feet offshore, so you're really close to the East Coast, right? But this is a little tiny outhouse kind of vault toilet thing. 500 feet. Do you guys remember seeing the pictures of the big tent? It's just mind-boggling enormous. The length is 650 feet, right? 2 football fields is 600 feet. And they're asking you to be within 500 feet of a vault toilet. And I guarantee you the camp host and rangers don't go out there with a 500-foot measuring tape. It's ballpark. So you can certainly get away with being 600 feet away. No one's going to say anything to you, right? So that's 2 football fields, gang. 2 football fields. Just imagine, everyone knows what a football field looks like. You ever try to run from one end to the other? I'd probably die if I tried that at this point in my life. But 2 of them linked together. So you don't have to be next to the vault toilet. You could be pretty far away if you want. So anyway, D.D. Cornell. Good afternoon, Mr. Rob, Dottie, and George. Here in Wisconsin, it's 20 degrees. And there's a storm, isn't there? Oh, that's terrible. Cottywampel. Regarding New Mexico and their yearly pass, it's officially $600 for non-residents, up from $225. That's so sad for so many people. Boy, the deal there that they had for years and years that I took advantage for 2 seasons in the summer was $225 for the pass, and electric sites were $11 a night for full electric and water, and sites without electric were free up to 2 weeks stay. So you could tour around all of the beautiful places in New Mexico for almost nothing. But no more, sadly. And you know, that's echoes of here, and it's since 2008 the annual pass has been $180, and they're talking about raising it to, shock of shockers, $600 next year. So almost the same. And what it is in both cases is that these prices get set up and there's resistance to raising them year after year after year. And the people that run the parks or run the BLM land keeps begging every year, I need more money, I need more money. And the answer continues to be no, year after year, in some cases decade after decade, until a crisis is reached where they're forced to do a giant raise because they haven't done reasonable ones over time, because the powers that be and the politicians wouldn't let them. Sad. So don't be angry at the management people in the park system or the management people in BLM. They're victims of this the same as you and I are. Blame your politicians. You know, they didn't make sure that these organizations got the funding that they needed. And that's what politicians are for. Politicians are really, all it is about how to spend money. How to spend my money and your money that goes to the federal government and local government, from county commissioners to cities to state level things. It's all about how to spend tax dollars wisely. And when you make decisions that aren't wise, it's poor governing, right? I'm not going to be the one to raise my hand and say, let's raise the rates reasonably every year or this year, because by the guy that's going to run against me is going to use that against me, right? And I'm going to get voted out of office and I'm going to be out of a job. It's kind of the equivalent of saying, hey, if I raise the wrong issue at work, I'm going to get fired. Yeah, sad, isn't it? But it's real. And that doesn't matter. You're Republican, Democrat. It's the same everywhere, and it's sad. Nancy Lowe says, what time does the Big Ten open? And I gave her a comprehensive 9 to 5 p.m. And on closing day, that final day, that Sunday, they close at 3. So, and she says, thank you. A group should tailgate the Big Tent show and have a potluck breakfast to get there early and establish good parking spots. Bring some games, music. Could be fun. That's not a bad idea at all. Naj says, get the bacon, the briskets. Darn, you didn't get it. The mushrooms, seafood, salad, yummy, yummy. She's watching me go through the store. Let's see. And she said, yeah, it's a Big Tent. Hey, here's Jeremy again. Great reading of the comments. Used to work in biking, walking, and active transportation advocacy. As a result, I used to have so many conversations around distracted driving. You're right to focus on safety. Great to hear your reflections while you drive. And it didn't occur to say in my previous comments, for those who don't know me, I'm a blind guy, and for some reason, YouTube is having trouble with the like button on a Droid phone with a screen reader. Didn't want your viewers to think I was crazy with that comment. Great stuff. Keep it coming. Let's see. My nomadic dream. The meetup is going to be a lot of fun. Well, it certainly is going to be with you, Herby. That's Herby, my nomadic dream. And Herby and I are doing a joint meetup a week from tomorrow at 1 p.m. in Quartzsite in Town Park, right adjacent to the dog parks. There's a covered tables there. We're going to be there at 1 o'clock on Tuesday. So if you're in town and you want to meet me, Rob Travels with Dottie, and you want to meet my nomadic dream, Herby, do that. Come and meet us. And if you're watching my channel, so you might not be familiar with Herby, I love his channel. He's such a nice guy. And I think our styles are pretty similar. One big difference is he's got a really new channel, and he made more progress in the first couple of months than I made in my first couple of years. And so he's on fire. So if you want to come to the meetup, I highly suggest you get on his channel and watch his stuff so you feel like you know him too. So you'll be as excited or maybe more excited to meet Herby. Who knows? Either is good. Maria Fuentes, 2 weeks out from the Big Tent. Great video on the grand events at Quartzsite. It is a spectacular event. The Big Tent after Quartzsite returns to normal. And that is Mario. Thank you, Mario. Katie Hoke, I'm so sorry to hear the frustration in your voice with certain comments. I don't understand why some people think that because these comments aren't in person, that gives them the right to say things they surely wouldn't say to you in person. I believe this is a common problem across YouTube channels, which some just ignore instead of calling someone out. You are the only person I watch who does a specific video on comments, and I like that. I wish more did, because a lot of comment sections are just toxic, which is why I stay out of them. If more channels did comment videos, maybe people would start to understand what they type matters too. Social media platforms don't have to be toxic, but they become toxic because of the way people act behind the screen. I am not on Facebook because of this very reason. Well, that was Katie. That was a pretty smart comment there. Thank you. Susan says, there's George in the back of the bed near Dottie. Not today. George is down there. I'm so pleased. I love orange cats. Oh dear, Dottie saw George. George was up on the bed that morning because George had about 24 hours of not feeling good. But George is fine today. I have the same problem with my iPhone. This is where, it was charging in the car and it kept doing that little sound. It goes like it charges, and I think it's a bad cord. And Lacama Prairie, I have the same problem with my iPhone charging cord. Sometimes it helps if you just turn the connection around the other way and plug it back in. You may want to buy a cheap iPhone charging cord. They seem to work pretty well. Yeah, I just need to replace the one cord in the car that's giving me problems. I ended up doing a YouTube search on test peppermint oil for mice and came up with many examples. Update on timestamp. If you click the timestamps in your notifications, not your channel dashboard, it will also go to that point in the video. Ken says Dottie was growling at George because he moved. I guess she thought he was going to mess with her. On your keypad, I paid attention and noticed that I look away out of habit when you unlock your car, just how I was raised. Like I do, if I'm behind somebody in an ATM line and they're entering their stuff, I avert my look. Ken says you did a video which states what states you're licensed in. Is just that you're mentioning these comments more today, or are you starting to get more soft trolls? I said the comment that questioned if I'm licensed came in last night. You just didn't see it, Ken, because I deleted it. And JB says on the did she really do this? And he says, wait, no one is that dumb, or maybe. Well, you know what? Here's the thing, and I think I mentioned this yesterday. People, dumb, stupid, synonymous, right? Versus ignorance. Big difference. People are rarely dumb or stupid. People are more commonly, when they do things that seem they should know better than that, it's because they don't know better than that. They don't, if no one tells you that there's a fundamental difference between diesel and gas fuel, why would you know? Unless someone told you, or you read about it, or researched it, or you could go through a lifetime not understanding what that difference is. And on top of that, not understanding, switching those around, what damage you could do. Because if you don't know that, you would think, why would putting diesel fuel in my gasoline tank or vice versa create thousands of dollars worth of damage or potentially ruining the vehicle totally? When I got that fact, I was pretty surprised about it. So anyway, Stacy Jones. Well, it's one of the reasons why her prank worked so well, because it's believable that someone without experience wouldn't know how devastating that mistake could be. And she leveraged that idea into a really effective prank on her husband. Stacy Jones says, to narrate or not to narrate? That is the question. It's alludes to be or not to be from Shakespeare. I enjoyed either way. I do get a kick out of future Rob, past Rob, present Rob, but you got to be you. Virginia Hankey, I wasn't you. I was addressing the English wait and see pudding analogy to was the people that kept asking you that was addressed to them. So I did address that. I said, Virginia, here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with me or other people in town asking about, and she was referring to this, about a large new building under construction. It's perfectly innocent and understandable curiosity. So that's to underline. I don't mind questions. Questions are great, especially ones that make sense. It's like this thing is, they're building a big building in the middle of this little tiny town in Quartzsite, and everybody's wondering, what is that? And no one seems to know. It's kind of a mystery. It's naturally, the more we don't know what it is, the more curious we get. Robert Nasser on the prank video. During our RV travels, one of the states had gasoline with the green and yellow and red handles. Diesel was in black. Interesting that it varies by state. Barbecued. Hey, Robert, your channel is really great. You have such a great way of speaking, and now Senior, a counselor, explains it. I arrived in Q today, sat and had to tear down and retreat to River Ranch RV. My generator was gushing oil. Ouch. Ugh. Let's see. Dave's Diesel came out and fixed it right away. That's great. I didn't know about Dave's Diesel. That's a good, this is good recommendation. So I think if you need diesel work in town, they come out to you. I'd Google Dave Diesel, figure out who that guy is. Thanks be to God. I thought my Q experience was a bust. I'll be back to the LTVA on Wednesday. Nancy Lowe, I'm in a tent both years, and they have tried to get in and sometimes succeeded. I think she's talking about mice. I do spray with a mixture of cinnamon, peppermint, castor oil, eucalyptus, some shaved iris spring soap, rubbing alcohol, and a little water. Well, she's throwing everything with the kitchen sink at it. They will not come when it's freshly sprayed. This is a very long comment, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. So if you're interested in her her experience in Quartzsite with a tent and rodents, one thing she doesn't mention though is she pitching her tent near a wash, near vegetation? I suspect that she is, but I could be wrong. But she had quite the experience, and it's under Quartzsite Comments on 1/5/25. So you go to that video and look at the comments, and you can read quite a lengthy story about mice and her battle with rodents in Quartzsite. A bus and a pyre. Always park my bus at Family Dollar and walk to Calcutta. 38-foot bus is hard to manage in those lots. Yeah, it's a little bit easier with a little pickup truck like mine. Debbie, lots of excitement building there. That's the big tent building. Great video. That's from Debbie and from the Four King Wanderers. Great video. The big tent is awesome. Pamela Johnson, love Dottie, and you're pretty cool too. The video was great. Thank you, Pamela. Randy, there's Randy. I actually said out loud, the mushrooms are right there. So I'm in shopping. I'm going, I can't find mushrooms anywhere. And Nancy is seeing them on the screen. But I did eventually find them. Then I'm unplugging all my iPad, iPhones, trying to figure out which one is making the noise. This was great. Oh, that's funny. So that little sound, she was like hearing that, watching my video, thinking it was her iPhone. It was mine. I'm curious about handicap parking. Doesn't look like there's much dedicated parking. I'm probably just not seeing it. Thank you for a great video. I'm hoping to leave this week to get there before the show opens. There is not much handicap parking spots in Quartzsite, just very few. And couple science on desert concert Cyndi Lauper. Really? What the heck was that? I'm going to have to play the video to see what the heck she's talking about. This is old. Okay, so this is a band and a couple called the Border Hookups, and they have pop-up concerts all over the place. And this is they were doing a Cyndi Lauper song. So that's what that was. And that was, I think, last year. It was a short. Kathleen, how did you get to such an old short? Okay, so I have 3 comments on the positive news video I just put out already, which that's a good sign. It's the Anti-Fun City is what it's called. And it's positive news number 299. I'm about to break 300 straight days of doing positive news videos. And this is a guy in the UK that noticed something that now that I'm saying it, you're going to start noticing it too. The municipalities and states and government that put up signs everywhere warning you not to do this and not to do that. And he's like, he reached the end of his rope. He said, my city is just filled with these don't do this, don't do that restriction signs. So to fight back, he started creating his own satire signs. He started putting up all over the city, and they're hysterical. And rightly, and he was interviewed by the BBC on this, and he said, I want to remain anonymous. So no pictures of me, no name, because he knows the city would probably go after him, right? They would. He even had one sign out there that says, no illegal signs allowed. It helped put me in a really good mood this morning. That's so fun. So Chuck Bruin says we need more people like this. Destiny Cisco has a big smiley face. And Eve Carrington said he put a lot of thought into this. I love it. So guys, that is the comment video. Don't forget about the meetup on Tuesday, a week from tomorrow, Tuesday the 14th, at the dog park. Make sure I get that right. I don't be fooled into thinking it's tomorrow, Tuesday the 7th. It's the 14th. I don't want people to show up tomorrow and go, he didn't show up. It's the 14th. I guarantee you I will be there and probably be there early. And Herbie will be there. Don't forget Herbie's channel, My Nomadic Dream. Check him out. So you get excited about getting to meet him. You're going to love his stuff. So take care, and I'll see you tomorrow.